Now you just can't leave.
All right, welcome back to the Reverse Mush podcast. Harry Mack here, as always, with a very special guest this week. I'm joined by Kaytlin Neil ahead of her PFL Challenger Series fight this Friday on Fubo TV. Kaytlin, thank you so much for joining us. How are we feeling?
I'm feeling good right now. Maybe not in a few more hours because I'll be starting to cut my water, but right now we're good.
There you go, there you go. But I hope the weight cut's going well. Not too much left to shed off, at least.
Yeah, not too bad. It won't be that bad of a cut, but it's
All right.
never fun.
There you go. No, so I have been told, so I have seen. So just kind of jumping right into it here. So you're coming off of or you had your fight in Invicta as your last bout, beat Hannah Guy, a very good, very game opponent, wins in Bellator, BKFC. She's kind of been all over the place. But going back to the Ultimate Fighter season 30, I guess what would you say the big differences are so far, just in how the UFC and the PFL kind of treat potential fighters with you have the Ultimate Fighter, kind of a reality show setup. Challenger Series also very different, obviously, but sort of a reality show setup. So yeah, I guess if you could just kind of compare and contrast those two things.
Yeah, so I guess it's pretty similar. Like the Ultimate Fighter, they treated us really well, got us a lot of things, like went out of their way to make sure we were comfortable. And I think it's the same with PFL. Like they're very accommodating, they're really nice, they're really supportive. So I'm actually really enjoying my time with the PFL, and it's kind of been, I don't know, really fun. All the people working for PFL have been like so nice, really cool. I feel like they're like my friends. I can go and hang out with them. But yeah, it's been fun.
There you go. Always good to be welcomed. And I guess going back to Tough there, how I feel like it's impossible to understate it, but how what would you say the impact of Amanda Nunes' coaching has been on your career?
Yeah, so I think just being able to like meet Amanda Nunes and see kind of like how she interacts with people and how she kind of trains. She was injured on the show, so she didn't train that much. But yeah, I mean, just being able to like know her and see her as a person and see her as a human, it kind of like opened up my eyes. Like, oh, like it's kind of cool to see the human behind the fighter, you know?
Right. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And how did you feel about her last performance in the rematch with Juliana Pena?
Oh, I was stoked. I was like so pumped for her. She won every single second of the 25-minute fight. So, I mean, it was awesome to watch. And I felt like I had some like skin in the game. So it was just like, it was just really rewarding to see her put on that performance and get the win.
There you go. And so do you think there's anything to be said with just some of the familiarity that you and some of the other girls competing this week on Challenger Series have with each other from Tough? I mean, between you and Helen Peralta and Lisa Malden, there were a couple of you guys on that Tough 30 season.
Yeah, so Lisa tried out for Tough, but she never got on. She was just like an alternate. So unfortunately, I didn't get to live with her in the house. But yeah, I saw her, gave her a big hug because we fought before on LFA.
Hmm.
And then Helen is actually next door to me right now. Me and Helen fought on the Ultimate Fighter. We were the first female fight of the show. And so she's funny. We always kind of chit chat and talk whenever we see each other. She's actually been at my last like 4 fights now. So I think she's a little bit of a good luck charm for me. I'm glad she's here. It's kind of fun to have a familiar face.
There you go. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a small, very interconnected world. So you definitely run into a lot of the same people over and over. But yeah, I feel like that sense of familiarity can't be a bad thing, right?
Yeah, no, I think we're pretty comfortable around each other now. Living in a house together for 5 weeks and then now seeing each other everywhere.
Yeah, that'll certainly do it. That'll certainly do it. And so, how do you feel at the chance to be part of the inaugural PFL flyweight division? Just, kind of the chance to really be a part of something from the launch. And, I mean, if you were to come in and be successful, maybe they build the division around you. Like, what is the just that chance feel like to you?
I think the chance is so like what I love about it is like it's not there. They need like a face, they need like a champion, they need like someone there. So I'm like, okay, this is my opportunity. I see it, I want it, and I'm gonna try to like do everything I can to take that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I guess building off that a little bit, what about the PFL season format kind of appeals to you in comparison to other stuff you've done in the past?
Yeah, I mean the pay.
Good
So
answer.
it would be nice to finally get paid for fights. Like up until this point, I've been like breaking even, or like I had medical bills, so like my fight like purse goes towards that. So it's just like, oh, like it's nice to actually get paid to fight now in the PFL. And then also, I think from like everyone that I have talked to who's fought for the PFL, they treat their fighters like so well. And PFL has kind of like gone above and beyond to like work with me. So I am like really happy to have them like to be able to fight for them. So I'm hoping it goes well Friday and I get a contract, but like so far so good, and my like experience with them has been really positive so far.
There you go. And yeah, I don't think anybody could fault $1 million being a good reason or a good motivator.
Right. I've never been much of a prize fighter, but maybe I'll be
See,
one now.
yeah, there you go. I've never understood how they get away with making those tough fights exhibitions. That's one thing that will never. And then they kind of pick and choose when it counts on guys' records. You know what? Like Bryce
Yeah.
Mitchell, the loss to Katona counts on his record, but your win against Helen doesn't count on your pro record. It just, I don't know. I don't understand how all of that works, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I guess my fight on the Ultimate Fighter was only supposed to be 2 rounds, and then it was
Right.
a victory third round. So that's why, because it's only supposed to be two. So it's like,
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, it's just always been such a strange thing to me. The way that they pick and choose, it's like either count it or don't. You know what I mean? Let's just
yeah,
keep it simple.
yeah.
But so you train at Syndicate MMA with some of the best fighters in the world. So I mean, how does that impact just, your feeling of readiness training with John Wood, and I personally train at Law MMA out here on Long Island. So I know you got Aljo and Marab and kind of a Serra-Longo West out there right now. So just what's it like being in that room and just working with all those killers?
It's awesome to be in a room surrounded by like so much talent and so many like people on high levels. I think what has like affected me personally is like my confidence, like because in Utah I was maybe lucky to have like one two other girls on the mat, and they were like amateurs, kind of like just barely getting into it. So I never really had girls to go with at my level, and so I was always just kind of like guessing where I was at. I'm like, maybe I can beat this girl, I don't know. I've been going like training with dudes this whole time. So ever since switching to Syndicate, it's like, oh cool, these girls are like on higher levels than me. I'm hanging with them. If I can like hang with these girls on the mats, then I can like destroy this girl that I'm fighting this weekend in the cage. So like that's really helped my confidence and like help me like know where I'm at, skill wise and talent wise. So I think that's kind of helped me like mentally more than anything. And then also working with John Wood. He is an awesome like female fight coach. I'm only speaking from my experience. I don't know how he works with the dudes, but he's so good about like helping you, like sitting down with you if you're having a hard day and like talking you through it, calming you down, like building you up, like whatever you need. But he's also very like realistic with you. Like before my last fight, he's like, Kaytlin, she will beat you if you don't go out there and fight, but I know you can beat her, so you need to go out there and do your thing. So he's like very realistic in that way, and I think that kind of like helps me because I know he's not uh just like trying to like build me up or like whatever. Like he's not lying to me to build me up. He's being very
Right.
honest. Also, he's like very good about like you can do this, like believe it. Like he's
Right.
very good about like being there for you in that way.
Yeah, it's definitely nice not to have to worry about like going back to your corner after a round and worrying about like, oh, that was a close round, maybe we got that one. No, I feel like you want a coach who's gonna tell you, yeah, great shit, keep it up. You beat the brakes off her in that round, or yeah, you got it taken to you a little bit in that round. You're gonna need to go get that one back.
Yeah.
And so I noticed just doing some research before this interview here, you seem to be pretty big in like just the I don't know what to call it. I guess the content creation space, if we want to use that word, the influencer space. So
Influencer, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I guess do you feel like in this day and age it's important that not only are fighters, entertaining and talented and putting on good fights in the cage, but do you feel like it's also almost just as important to be able to kind of market yourself and also have skills outside of the cage that you can use?
Yeah, so I kind of do that stuff for fun. I think it's like so fun for me to make videos and like post it and like make people laugh or whatever. But also like that's how I've literally been paid to fight for all these years. Like I make way more money outside of the cage, like posting on TikTok than I do inside of a cage. So I'm like, well, I can do what I love and I'm having fun while doing it. So why not? And I think more fighters should be taking advantage of like the opportunities through social media because they're doing something that's like so cool and so exciting in a cage, but they just like don't post about it. So not very like many people know. And like you guys are just like losing out on opportunities right now. So yeah, I think it's like really important to be like like a self promoter marketing yourself, but then also like doing something that's like worthwhile so people are invested.
For sure. I mean, listen, as somebody who has had been lucky enough to work on the back end with some promotions here or there, I mean, one of the first things that we usually look at when we're looking at, oh, do we want to maybe book somebody or this or that is social media and engagement. You know what I mean? It's like it feels so silly, but that's the stuff that matters these days. You gotta be able to get people to tune in and want to pay attention and feel connected to you.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like it makes them more invested into your career and into your fights because they feel like they know you, you know? So it's not just
Exactly.
like a random fighter in a cage, like fighting each other. Like you don't really care what happens. It's like once people realize, like, oh, like I shared a lot about like my record at the beginning where it wasn't so good. And then I like fought through that. And then I like went through knee surgeries and fought through that. And so people are like relating to me because like maybe they had a knee surgery and then they wanted to come back and like do something. And so when they're watching my fights, they know like all the history and what I've gone through to get to this point. So they're like way more invested.
For sure. Right. You can kind of nurture that connection, that fandom, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that parasocial relationships are real. People absolutely will feel much more invested in yeah, somebody who they know the story of and all of that. And so I don't want to keep you too long here because you've been absolutely incredibly generous with your time. But so you were actually the slight underdog on the betting lines going into your last fight against Hannah Guy there. Going into this fight, you're actually the favorite. You're sitting around minus 250 on DraftKings right now. So is that something that affects your mindset at all going into a fight?
I had no idea that I was the underdog against him. So no, doesn't affect me. I didn't know that I was like, well, I kind of figured that I was like the favorite in this fight just because I have more fights than Catherine. But yeah, I mean that doesn't affect me. I'm just gonna go in there, do what I do, and I don't know. You never know what's gonna happen. Like it's an MMA fight, anything can happen at any time. So it's like cool to like see that stuff, but yeah, it doesn't really affect me.
No, good to know. Good to know. All right. Well, Kaytlin, thank you so much for your time. You have been beyond generous. Anything you want to plug before we let you go?
Just thank you to everyone at Syndicate Martial Arts in Las Vegas, and then my home gym, Utah, or Agima, in Utah, and then Century Martial Arts for supporting me and making it able so I can do this crazy fight game.
There you go. And where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at Kaytlin Katniss MMA on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. If you type in Katniss, normally I'm the first, like one of the first people that pop up.
Oh, well, there you go. All right. Well, Kaytlin, thank you so much. Best of luck this Friday, 9 p.m. Fubo TV. Can't wait to see you see you go in there and hopefully come away with a contract.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, no problem. Have a good one.
Bye.